Hey there, welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and I always enjoy this type of segment, right? Because there's a lot to talk about going into this Week 3 matchup between the Eagles and the Rams, a rematch of the divisional round game last year at the Link, which was a pretty epic playoff game. And I always love talking Eagles with the best fans and viewers in the world. That's what we're doing here on this show, because we're opening up the floor for another Philadelphia Eagles mailbag. We'll get to your questions coming up here in just a moment, but a programming reminder, don't forget to subscribe so that you too can ask your questions to me and be a part of our mailbag segments when we go live every single week on Wednesdays. But also, we go live for every single Eagles game, and we're running it back again. Eagles-Rams watch party Sunday, Week 3, right here on the program. Can't wait for it. And if you've never tuned into one of our watch parties, it is the best place to experience an Eagles game day outside of being at the actual game. Andrew Nathan brought the heat in our mailbag here today. Chase, what I want to see from the offense this week: establish the run to set up the passing game, especially with quarterback power, get Hurts throwing on the run for some easy passes, stay in rhythm. And let's dissect what Andrew said here. I'm never a fan of running quarterback power, quarterback draw too often, because there are a lot of big bodies in between the tackle box, and obviously it can open up Jalen Hurts to getting injured, but it has been a staple play for this Eagles offense in years prior. Now, against Kansas City, you simply can't run quarterback power because the Chiefs blitzed Jalen Hurts more than 60% of the time. In fact, their blitz rate was the highest under Steve Spagnuolo since he became the Chiefs defensive coordinator in 2019. And so what the defense does always dictates some of your play calls. But if there are lighter boxes, which now is a little bit of a rarity because the Eagles have had so much success running it with Saquon, the quarterback power, quarterback draw is a great play call, especially when you spread the defense out from sideline to sideline with some 3-4 wide receiver sets. And, if you have 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, you're forced, the defense is, to really get to the outskirts of the field. And so I hear you on that. As far as getting Hurts throwing on the run for some easy passes, I'm always a fan of getting your quarterback confident and going early with some easy completions. And against Kansas City, because the Chiefs blitz so much, Hurts did get rid of it in about 2+ seconds. So he was very quick to dissect what the defense was doing, and he wanted to get the ball out on time to avoid negative plays and sacks. This is an area where Jalen Hurts has gotten a lot better over time. I mean, when he started his career, sometimes he would be that one read and run at quarterback. But now he's making quick decisions. He's very decisive. He's getting the ball out on time and in rhythm to his playmakers. He's understanding what the defense is doing, and then he's basing his decision-making off of that. But yeah, sometimes what I like to see Jalen Hurts roll to his right, throw a ball into the flat. I would like to see that because it clears up your quarterback's vision line and it's an easy throw. But again, it's also how the defense is covering Philadelphia right now. And as part of that too, the defense is covering the Eagles in a way and in the ways that they are, because at times the Eagles can be predictable. So for me, it's one of those things where multiple things can be true. Eagles play calling, play designs can be better. At times, Hurts can do a better job of throwing receivers open or giving them opportunities to make the play. Hurts also doesn't want to give the football up, which is why he doesn't throw some of those risky passes. And then also as part of that, it's also how teams are defending Philadelphia. But Andrew Nathan showing everybody that he knows ball. Kinsu, $20 here. Jalen Hurts does less to get a win, while other quarterbacks do too much to get a win, and then they lose. Guys, sometimes they try too hard to get a girl, and then they get friend-zoned. I love this analogy here because I've said this a few times on the show. Nowadays, with fantasy football, daily fantasy, gambling, social media, box score hunting, everybody becomes obsessed with quarterbacks who put up filthy numbers, especially when you see Lamar Jackson doing what he does, Patrick Mahomes, when he actually has some offensive talent and weaponry around him, do what he does. Josh Allen's stat lines are ridiculous. But what a lot of people lose sight of, there are different ways to play the quarterback position. There are different ways to operate as a quarterback. There are different ways to win. Jalen Hurts is not Josh Allen, but that's okay. Jalen Hurts can't do the things with his arm and legs that Josh Allen can do at times. Josh Allen is also 6'5". Jalen Hurts is not. And so that impacts his ability to sometimes see the field. But the Eagles as an organization have really prioritized turnover avoidance. The Eagles are 36-2 when they win the turnover battle under Nick Sirianni. That is a ridiculous record. I mean, already when you win the turnover margin, you win about 80% of the games in the NFL. The Eagles are even better than that. And so they really want to keep the ball safe. And so I like the way that Jalen Hurts plays the quarterback position. There's nothing wrong with managing the game, being smart, taking what the defense gives you. That's what Tom Brady did so much throughout his career. Bill Belichick and him didn't want Tom Brady to force the ball because they understood how turnovers can impact a game and how it flips momentum on its head throughout a ball game. And you're right, Kinsu. Quarterbacks who do too much, try to force the issue, they get the ball up. What does it lead to? Points for the opposition, a change in momentum, which can then lead to a loss. Guys out there, if you go overboard and try too hard to land a girl, and you start to get clingy and a little bit overly aggressive, girls will be like, whoa, you got to chill. I'm not ready for all that. And they'll back away. They'll put you in the friend zone, or they'll say, I'm not into you because you're being a little bit too much. Same thing for quarterbacking. Alejandro Maldonado, hopefully you got your hat, brother. We sent you that the other week, so let me know if you got it. The need at cornerback 2 is real. Would you offer a Micah-like trade, 2 first-round picks, a third and a fourth, conditional turns into a third, and Keely Ringo for Patrick Surtain? If Denver, by the trade deadline, doesn't look like a playoff team, go Birds. Fascinating trade here, and obviously that would be a huge package, and it has to be because Patrick Surtain, probably the best corner in football, if not, definitely a top 5 guy who last year won Defensive Player of the Year. I would like for the Eagles to upgrade cornerback 2. I do think it's a problem. You're set with Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, who has been really good to start the year. Cooper DeJean, awesome to start the year as well. I mean, both of those players have Pro Bowl, All-Pro potential. I think it's better to keep DeJean in the slot because you can use him as such a chess piece, which takes advantage of his versatility. But cornerback 2, yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. I will give credit where credit is due. Adoree Jackson, much better in week 2 than he was in week 1. Vic Fangio said he needed to play better. He needed to improve his technique, and Adoree Jackson did play better. But the Chiefs' receiving core, also not good. Let's see how the Eagles hold up in the secondary going up against Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, who can really hurt you all over the field. And so it's one of those things where I think Howie's going to see how this team plays and fares as we approach the deadline, and he'll measure what he might have to do. And if the Eagles need to make another trade, I am high on Jacorian Bennett. He really just played okay against Kansas City. There was a play where his tackle attempt on Patrick Mahomes in the pursuit of him wasn't great. But obviously, the big name that you mentioned there in that super chat, Alejandro, thank you for your donation, was Pat Surtain. The Denver Broncos, they're 1-1. Bo Nix, not good in week 1, better in week 2, had a bad giveaway late in that game. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And the Broncos look at themselves as a team that can win the AFC West and finally take down the Kansas City Chiefs. They just signed Surtain to that contract extension. Whether they're good or not, they're not going to be sellers to a point where they trade away Patrick Surtain. So you could try to convince them with a trade offer like that, and it's a fat trade package, but the Broncos, no way, no how, are going to trade a player like that. I think you're looking more so at players like Denzel Ward after the Browns restructured his contract. If they're bad, They might try to trade him because they're in salary cap hell because of the Deshaun Watson deal. Dennis Designs, $25 super chat. Hey, did you see at the end of the game Chris Jones talking trash with Jalen Hurts, who said we won the effing game? So nice to see Jalen Hurts talking smack. An awesome moment, and it was a pretty epic hot mic alert moment where Chris Jones was like, you didn't even have more than 100 yards. And Jalen Hurts is like, we won the effing game. Won the game. It's all that matters. Against a desperate Chiefs team that under Andy Reid hadn't gone 0-2 since 2014, a Chiefs team that under Patrick Mahomes had never lost 3 games in a row. He lost 3 games in a row, dating back to last year. You go into a tough environment against a desperate team and fan base in a very hostile environment, and you come away with that win. A lot to build on, a lot to improve on, but a win is a win, and it always feels good to take down those Chiefs. Doesn't get any easier for the Eagles on this schedule. Rams coming to the Link on Sunday. Best game of the week across the NFL during the Week 3 slate. Who you got? LAR for the Rams, PHI for the Philadelphia Eagles. Get those predictions in. By the time this video comes out, it's almost game time. Our sponsor for today's Philadelphia Eagles now, PrizePicks. We really appreciate them for making today's show possible. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. #1 fantasy sports app. You can win big up to 2,000 times your money, and it's available all across the country. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup is not perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. This is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. And right now, when you play your first $5 lineup, you get $50 in lineups. Use the code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS. And you get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's so good to be right. And we want to be right on Sunday. A.J. Brown, more than 72.5 receiving yards. Puka Nacua, more than 84.5 receiving yards. And then Patrick Mahomes, the special here, more than a half passing yard. New users, play $5. Get $50 instantly in lineups. Real money sports action made easy. Claim your $50 now. All right, Gene Holcomb, Chase, what do you think the fate of the brotherly shove is after this season, and what do you think about the offside claims? I think, unfortunately, the tombstone for the brotherly shove is going to read 2022 to 2025. I think that it is going to get banned after this year, and the couple of owners who did not vote to banish it this past offseason are going to vote to banish it now. The NFL really cares about the product and aesthetically how it looks. And the Chiefs-Eagles game shattered records as far as views go. 33.8 million viewers. Best ever regular season Sunday telecast. Most watched NFL Week 2 telecast on record. And the most watched September or October game ever. You know what the NFL doesn't want? The NFL doesn't want the talk coming out of that game being the brotherly shove. And for me, it's unfortunate. For Adam Schefter to sit there on Get Up and say this game was lost earlier this offseason when the Tush Push wasn't banned is absurd. The Chiefs did not lose because of the Tush Push. The Chiefs lost because they missed a 58-yarder. Saquon Barkley scored a touchdown. The Chiefs marching down the field, Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce, bounced off his hands, intercepted by Andrew Mukuba. Eagles scored a touchdown. The Eagles made the big plays late. Jalen Hurts was better than Patrick Mahomes on third down. He was better than Mahomes against the blitz. And the Eagles made the clutch plays to determine that ball game. Now, a couple of things can be true here, right? The Eagles were offsides on a couple of occasions. But the defense was also offsides on a couple of those plays. And so Chiefs fans, I've learned, are such soft, sensitive crybabies who you can tell are not used to losing because they think they lost because of the brotherly shove. It's unfair. And get over it. You can't stop the tush push. On the first tush push attempt of the game, the Chiefs were whistled for an offsides. So don't act like it's a one-sided problem. I've always said this. I don't think the Eagles should be penalized for doing something at an elite level that is literally unique to them and them only. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in the NFL who can run this play consistently, efficiently, to the levels of success that he runs it at. A lot of people have said it's an ugly play. I disagree. Do people need a new pair of pants after watching a fullback dive? Do people get excited about a punt or a touchback? Do people think that a regular quarterback sneak is thrilling? Because of the controversy behind this play, I actually think it's pretty exciting. The other argument from people, it's not a football play. Jordan Mailata literally was a professional rugby player. He has said it's not a rugby play. It's not a rugby scrum. And for me, football is all about trying to come up with plays, ideas, and ways to beat an opponent. Nick Sirianni founded this play in 2022. And the Eagles have evolved this play over time. Football is all about physicality, winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. And the Eagles do that better than anybody else. So I wouldn't ban it. I love the play. It's so important to what the Eagles do. It's such a weapon for them because they're so good at it in short yardage situations. They've won games because of this play. But I do think, unfortunately, with all of the negativity around it, Dean Blandino saying, I'm done with this play, and the noise getting louder, those owners are going to ban it. Or the NFL officiating crews can just do a better job of officiating it, maybe. Lion Fighter, will we see some Tank Bigsby in week 3? Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Tank Bigsby is used as a kick returner. I will say this. The Eagles' pass blocking from running backs against Kansas City after they blitzed more than 60% of the time was awesome. Saquon Barkley and A.J. Dillon were great as far as their blitz pickups and their pass protection in front of Jalen Hurts. And so one of the concerns you have with a new back, scheme-wise, timing-wise, play-calling-wise, can a player like Tank Bigsby be ready to block like that? Now, as a kick returner, you catch the kick and you run. In an obvious running down, put the ball in his belly and see what he can do. But we'll see if the Eagles have trust in him this early. Can't wait to see him. He's a legitimate back who runs really hard. Daphne Covington, hopefully I pronounced that right. Last question here. What are your thoughts on the offensive line? I think Landon is more banged up than we know. I agree with you. And in that game, I said it live during the watch party. And then I went back and watched the tape. Landon Dickerson did not play well. And when he went up against Chris Jones, who is older but still, I'd say, the best defensive tackle in the game, Chris Jones kind of bullied him. And so I think the knee and the leg strength probably is not 100%. And then also remember that outside of that knee surgery that Dickerson got, he also hurt his back, which is huge for an offensive lineman. Leverage, being able to control these 300-plus pound bodies who are violent and physical. And so he struggled at times. On big running plays, Saquon against the Chiefs, Saquon against the Cowboys, Tyler Steen has had some awesome blocks. But at times, sometimes, I think he's a little bit soft at that right guard spot. And we've definitely seen how the Eagles have missed Mekhi Becton a bit. But I do think with how much and how often the Chiefs blitz for the most part, the Eagles held up pretty damn well with their protection up front. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, join the movement. And when you do that, you get Eagles shows every single day. And we'll catch you soon here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Enjoy your weekends.